Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through setting up a site and having the links work. We're going to use this file, art116 Dean Nettles, as our home site. And I'm going to go to Dreamweaver. Now, the problem with Dreamweaver, well, call it a problem. You share, Dreamweaver, share. There we go. So the issue with Dreamweaver is that if we don't actually create a site when we set up Dreamweaver, what it's going to give you is it's going to do all of your links and it's going to refer to your desktop. So it's going to start, the links will all start out as files such and such. And that is completely useless if you are actually setting up a site anywhere except your desktop. So the very first thing that we need to do in Dreamweaver, in order to avoid that unfortunate circumstance, is we're going to go to Site, New Site. And I'm going to name this Links Test, so that hopefully I remember to delete this later. And I'm going to go to Browse for folder. I'm going to go and select this art116 Dean Nettles, and I'm going to choose it. And I'm going to save it. And it builds a sitemap. And you'll see there's the folder. There's currently nothing in the folder. So it's not going to, there won't be anything there. However, we can select this, and I'm going to go File, New File. And the very first thing I'm going to do is going to create an index.html. This is the master site, the master file for this page. Okay, so now you'll notice that there is in fact a drop down, and there's that file. Now, inside that, much like what we have been doing, I'm going to go File, New Folder, and art116 Nettles, like we've been doing. I'm going to select that file, new folder. Inside that folder, I'm going to have an @rib folder. And I'm also going to select this and do File, New Folder, and I'm going to call it Explorations. And I need to make sure I spell it right, otherwise I will cause myself all kinds of grief. And I'm going to click on here, and I'm also going to do File, New Folder, and call it Site, on the off chance that I feel like I need to do more on this project later. Okay. Inside the Explorations folder, I'm going to double click, or I'm going to click on there, File, New File, and I'm just going to call this Explorations.html. And I'm going to just, okay, so I'm going to make this maybe a little bit more complicated than I need to. File, New Folder. I'm going to create a file called, or a folder called CSS. That's selected, file, new file, and I'm going to call this style.css. Okay, so, and there's nothing in that file, there's nothing in, there's just a little bit of code in there and a little bit of code in there. Then the one other thing I'm going to do is go back to my desktop, and what I want to do is just go get a file. Excuse me while I pick something out of the cleanup. Screen grabs. Sure, I'll do that. That's silly. I'm going to bring this all the way out here. I'm going to drop it in Art116 here, and I'm going to put it in my attribute folder. Okay. So now if I go to the attribute folder, I see I have a, I'll just call this bird, just to make it easy. So I have a file there. Okay. So we have Art116 nettles. Inside that we have Art116 nettles. We have an index file, which will then be able to reference. I'll use that to reference anything else in here that I need to do. I have an explorations file. I have a CSS file. I have an attribute file. Okay. I'm going to now go back, you share, go back to Dreamweaver, and I'm going to go to my index file. Double click on that, and it comes up. Okay. I'll change this to excuse me. All right. And I'm going to create a little navigation here. So I'm going to, all I'm really going to do here is I'm going to do H1. Nettles home, close that H1. Then I'm going to do a UL and an LI. And inside that LI will be explore, it will be home. Well, it's actually, let's go href equals index.html, because it's referencing this file here. And then I'm going to type home. Okay, and that LI is closed, and now LI href equals. Now this one is going to be more complicated. All right, we're going to reference this explorations file. In order to get to that explorations file, we need to go inside the Art116 nettles folder. And then we need to go inside the explorations folder. And then we need to attach the explorations.html file. So the way this will get typed is Art116 underscore nettles slash, because we need to go inside the Art116 nettles folder. And then we're going to go explorations / explorations .html. Okay. And I'm going to close that. And I'm going to call this explorations. Okay, and that's my navigation. And then I need to close my UL. And I'm going to unindent it, 1 tab. All right, and that is what the site looks like, and it doesn't look like much, but that's not what's important at the moment. What's important is that this is how the links work. So to get from index.html, which is right here, we need to first go into the folder art116_nettles there. Then inside of that, here I'll close that and I'll close that. Inside of that, I want to go in the explorations folder, explorations / so art116_nettles / then inside explorations / and then finally to the explorations.html file, like that. Okay, this is all very delicate. If you misspell anything, it won't work. If you if you make the site, if you capitalize anything and in one place and don't capitalize it in another, it'll break. If you move files around and don't change this link, then it'll break. There's lots of breaking possible. However, it should be noted that it does not say file at the beginning of this name, and we're only using the names of the folders and files that we're actually working with. There are no other names or anything else involved in this. And I'm going to save this. Save all. I just find it best to save all. Okay, next. I'm going to open up explorations.html. And there's nothing in here, and I'm going to call this okay. And under body, I'm going to type H1. And close that. Then I'm going to go UL, LI, A, href equals. Now, we're going to do the index page. And the first thing we need to do, so to get to the index page from the explorations file, the first thing we need to do is go up 1 level. So we're going to come out of this folder, which will take us into the art116nettles folder. So I'm going to hit ... that takes us out 1. And then once we're here, we need to go out yet another 1 to get to the index file. So ... and then we're going to type index.html. And then I'm going to go home. And close the LI. Then we have an LI and an A href equals quote. And in this case, we're just going to reference the explorations file.html. .html. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. It is itself. So we just type out the name of it like that. And then finally close that UL. Okay. So we've created two sets of navigation, and all it does is it will move. When we're on the index page, we can move to explorations. When we're on explorations, we can move back to the index page. And I'm going to go File, Save All. And I'm going to go to New Share, and I'm going to go back to my desktop. And so I'm going to start off. Here's our index file. New Share, Desktop, Share. There we go. I'm going to double click on index to get started. Here's our file, Dean Nettles Home. Here's our link, Home and Explorations. If I click Home, it doesn't go anywhere. If I go to Explorations, notice they just changed the name. And if I went and looked up here, you would find that explorations.html. And now if I click Home, it takes me back. Explorations takes me there. Explorations keeps me there. Home. Okay, so that's a very simple piece of navigation. We're now going to make it a little bit more complicated. And so I'm going to go New Share. I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to index.html. And I'm going to add a picture. So after body, I'm going to go image src equals quote. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bird illustration. So to do that, I need to go in the art116 folder, and then I need to go in the attribute folder, attrib, and pick up this image bird.jpg. So I'm going to type art116 underscore Nettles slash attrib slash bird.jpg. Notice how it's actually showing up. And then I'm going to do alt equals blue and orange bird on finger, human. And we'll do that. And then space slash greater than. And you'll see the bird shows up. And he's really big. So, and I want him to be smaller. All right. To do that, so I could add code in here to make it smaller. I could add CSS up here to make it smaller. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to use my CSS sheet to do this. So I'm going to go link href equals, again, I'm going to need to go inside the art116 folder, and then I'm going to need to go inside the CSS folder. So art116 underscore nettles slash CSS slash style dot CSS, and then rel for relationship equals style sheet. And then type equals text slash CSS. And then I'm going to space slash greater than, and that closes the link. Okay, and we haven't actually written any CSS, so nothing has changed, but I'm hoping that when I go into here, that in fact something will change. I'm going to go File, Save All. Then I'm going to go to my CSS file. And I'm going to make this simple. I'm just going to say image width 200 pixels. And while I'm here, I'm also going to go H1 font family Arial sans serif, and color red, and close that curly bracket, and that fixed the color issue there. And I go save, and now I'm going to go back to my index and notice that the bird is now the right size, and this is now a sans serif, and it's red. Okay, and so you'll notice, again, this link, art116 underscore nettles slash CSS slash style.css. Next, we're going to go to our explorations file. So here's our explorations file. If we want to add our CSS, I'm going to go here, link href equals, okay, in this case, I'm in the explorations folder. To get to the CSS folder, I need to come out of the explorations folder, which is .. And then I want to go into the CSS folder, CSS / and then style.css. And this says ling. That's misspelled, so that won't work. But as soon as I hit link, well, and I'm not done yet, href. So now the relationship equals style sheet. And just making sure I haven't made any mistakes, and then type equals text / CSS space slash greater than. And notice that the headline changed. And now if I want to add the image of the bird, I can come down here, image src equals, and again, we're going to need to come out of the explorations folder. So ... slash, and then we need to go to the attribute folder, and then slash, and then bird.jpg, and the bird shows up, and space slash greater than, and then the bird shows up. Okay. So I hope this is making sense so far. Okay. And then we have one more little project. So we have site here, and I'm going to add a file into site. So select site, file, new file, and I'm going to call this park underscore Nettles. I don't know what we're really going to call it, but you know, that gives you an idea of what it can be called. And I double click here. And so park site. Okay, and the body H1 again. Okay, and then we're going to go UL and LI and A href equals. First, we're going to include, first we are in the park site, we're going to go out one level, and then we're going to go up another level outside of the Art1. So we're now in the Art116 folder. Then we're going to come out of the 116 folder, and I'm going to type HTML. Okay. That's not right. Index.html. Now it's correct. And then home. Close the li. Then we've got li a href equals. And again, so we're going to go to the explorations file. Here, we only have to come out of the site folder. Then we go into the explorations folder and to explorations.html. So we go ... slash to come out of the site folder. And then we're going to go in the explorations folder slash and go to explorations.html. And I'm going to close that and explorations. Close A, close li. And now we have a third. We're going to add li a href equals quote. Now this is just needs to say park underscore nettles, because we don't have to go anywhere. We're right here and we're just referencing TTT. Yep. I'm going to go here and fix the spelling. Okay. Park nettles .html and park site close li and close ul, and then I'm going to take that ul, delete the tab, and like that. And then I know it's silly, but I'm going to go and add image src equals. Now again, we're here. We need to get here. We need to come out one layer. And then we can see the attribute folder. So // attrib / bird.jpg. Notice the bird shows up again. But you shouldn't need that. It should be able to tell. And then source equals blue okay, space / greater than. Why am I getting an error? I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to see. Oh, right. So that was wrong. So that should be Alt. Okay. And notice that the bird is again too big. And so I'm going to go under title and I'm going to go link href equals quote. And in this case, so I'm in the park file. Excuse me a second. File, save as. Delete, save, replace. Okay, so it's park nettles with 2 T's. I'm going to go to this file, go to file, edit, no, file, delete. Yes. Okay, so now we have the right number of files and so on. So we are here. We need to come out one folder and then go back in the CSS folder. And so again, we're going to go .. to come out of that folder. We're going to go to the CSS folder / style.css. Again, rel equals style sheet. And type equals text / CSS. And / greater than. And notice that the image dropped down in size and our headline is the same color. So that worked. So we added the bird, we added the CSS. Okay. Next, we're going to go back. We need to add this new link, this park site. So we're going to go back to our explorations folder, file. So there's explorations. And I'm going to go li ahref equals quote. So we are now in the explorations file. We need to come out one folder, .. / Then we need to go in the site folder, site / and then park _ nettles .html, and then close, and then park site, and then close the A, close the li, and save. And again, I'm getting a slight warning, a yellow warning instead of a red warning, that I want to add an alt tag equals blue and orange bird on human hand. Okay. Funny. Pointing to right. And notice that I would need to go then and update all the attributes on all the other pages so that they matched. Okay, next, finally, we're going to go back to index. And we also need to add another link here. So, li ahref equals quote. And we need to go down to park _ nettles.html. The first thing we need to do is go inside art116 _ nettles, art116 _ nettles / site / park _ nettles .html, and then close, and then I don't remember what I called it. So it's actually going, I'm going to have to go park site. Okay. Close li, save. So I'm going to go back to my explorations, and I called it park site, and I go back to park nettles, and it also says park site. So those are all consistent. This again, I made, and so alt. Okay, alt equals, that's fixed. Cancel. File, save all. Why is it insisting on seems to be insistent. Cancel. I've got to close this one, otherwise it will continue, and don't save it. There. So Park Nettles, Alt, Exploration, Alt, Index, Alt. I might as well go back here and just copy this. Go back to Index. Park Nettles. Okay, so those are now all completely consistent. And now I get to test it. So we got a lot going on here, right? We've got this index file here that we start off with. We have an explorations file. We have a park site. Let me double check what this says. It says Dean Nettles Park Site. This one says Dean Nettles Explorations. This says Dean Nettles Home. And all of them are linked to this bird image, and all of them are linked to the CSS. And so now we just need to see if it actually works. And we have a pretty good idea that it does, but we won't know until we actually try it out. And it's always important to try it out. So now I'm going to go share back to the desktop, share. I'm going to here's our share. Here's our index file. I'm going to double click on it. It's just opened up in the browser. I click home and it stays on home. I click explorations and now it becomes explorations. I click park site, it becomes park site. From the park site, I click explorations and it becomes explorations. Go back to the park site and click home, and it takes me back to the home. Go to explorations and I click park site and that works. And I go back to explorations, and first of all, it goes back. And secondly, I go to home and it takes me home. So it doesn't look like it's changed very much, but in fact, we verified that all the links work properly. Okay. And now if I were to put this on the MyDrive site, I would go to my Art116. The first thing I would do is I would delete everything that was on the MyDrive site. And then I would click and drag. You don't actually want to do this because this is just a test to help you with coding links and being accurate about that. But what you would want to do is you would want to take this and this. This would be your whole site with all your explorations and everything. This is the home page. And then you want to drag, you want to delete everything in your public folder. And then you would want to drag these onto your public folder and upload them. There's one other thing that I'm going to cover. You share, go back to Dreamweaver. And that's that we can actually access MyDrive from Dreamweaver, and we can actually do it better than we can doing it through MyDrive. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Site, Manage Sites. I'm going to go to this links test that I've created. you can use it for the one that you've created for your entire site. I'm going to click the pencil. And then here, I'm going to go to servers. And I'm going to click plus. And I'm going to call this NVCC MyDrive Spring 2021. Because I think they change the passwords every semester, so I'm not sure that you can get back in here. Okay, connect using FTP. Give me a second because I need to, just a second. Okay, FTP address is MyDrive.nvcc.edu. Then we've got that. And then the root directory is, just a second. home/public/ and then, okay, there's two little things here. HTTPS, and then under more options, we click on use IPv6 transfer mode. And I'm going to test this. And it said it connects successfully. Okay, again, this doesn't matter, but let's make it correct. FTP mydrive.nvcc.edu, port 21, your username, your password. Then it needs to be root directory is home/public/, and then you'll need to add an S into HTTPS, and then click this on, test it, it goes okay, and then you save it. And then we save it, and we click OK, and we click done. And what it changes is that we can now go on your files thing from local view to remote server, and it will show you the contents of your MyDrive. And amongst the many things that one can do is that one can click on a folder here, go to File, and go to Delete, and it will actually delete everything in one fell swoop. And all those files that we've been having difficulty deleting will actually delete properly. You need to make sure that whether you're on remote server or local server, but if we go to local view, what I could do, I'm not going to do it here because I don't want to screw up what I've got on my drive, but I could shift click both of these, click this up arrow, and it will put all of these up automatically. And you don't have to fool around with pushing a lot of buttons. So if you set up the site, your file links will be correct, And if you set up the site and then also set up the server, then you have the ability to actually work with the files on MyDrive in a much easier manner than you could when you were doing it manually. And that's what I've got.